Real Estate, Co-ops by Sandra Cabra. The real estate industry is not only rich in assets, but also in opportunities and options for those who look beyond black and white. Home ownership could include a unit in a mobile home park, a single-family home, a townhouse, a condo, or a cooperative. Co-ops for short. Most of these concepts are clear to everyone, but co-ops are in the category of the unknown, even while they may be the perfect fit for some. The general definition of a cooperative is a legal entity owned and democratically controlled by its members or shareholders, with no passive shareholders, unless they hold non-voting shares. In a housing cooperative, members share and/or control the property. Members do not actually own the real estate, but shares or a membership of the cooperative housing corporation. The corporation owns or leases the real estate, and members have a leasehold interest in the unit. Due to the fact that real estate is not sold, instead of mortgages, members apply for share loan financing. Members have the right to live in a specific unit, an apartment, townhouse, or any other type of dwelling. An occupancy agreement or proprietary lease documents the right to occupy the unit for an unlimited period of time, unless the member does not abide by the rules of the cooperative. It entitles members with the right to vote on issues related to the corporation. When it comes to members' equity participation in a share capital co-op, they own shares that reflect their equity in the real estate owned by the co-op. While in a non-share capital co-op or a not-for-profit co-op, residents have a membership and occupancy rights, paying subscriptions or rent. There are three basic structures for housing cooperatives.
Market rate housing co-ops. These are very common in New York. Members can sell their shares at market price, much like a typical residential property. Equity may be accumulated.
Limited equity co-ops, or LECs. These are common in affordable housing. Members own some equity, but the sale price is controlled. The membership is sold for what they paid for it, in order to keep the co-op affordable. Inflation and improvements are considered in pricing updates.
Zero equity, leasing, or group equity co-ops. Members are not entitled to equity and do not own the co-op. The cooperative corporation leases the property from an investor who usually is a non-profit corporation created for this purpose. If the property comes up for sale, the co-op may buy it and change it to any other type of co-op housing.
Co-ops have strict guidelines for members and prospects, no matter what end of the price range spectrum they are on. Affordable housing co-ops may impose limits on the maximum income for residents, while high-end co-ops may be very particular about their criteria. According to Pamela Skillings, founder of Skillful Communications in New York, even celebrities have been turned down by some co-op boards of directors. Their guidelines and bylaws are tough, and the board can reject a prospect or dismiss a member. Likewise, the same rules promote a desirable standard of living and a thriving community for all. As in any other community with common areas, maintenance fees are applied in accordance with the percentage of ownership participation. These include utilities, insurance premiums, management, and real estate taxes. While the corporation is billed for paying taxes, each individual member is allowed to deduct tax and mortgage interest payments on their income tax return. This is allowed only if the corporation can pass on the deduction to its members. Several requirements apply. If this is the case, the corporation sends a written notification to each member. Capital gain operates the same way it would for homestead, in a fee-simple title, which is the most comprehensive bundle of rights on a property. Steve McLinden with Bankrate explains that, to the contrary, homestead exemptions are not applicable for co-ops, as they are not considered real property. Advantages of buying into a co-op include the lower price compared to fee-simple ownership, or affordable co-ops. Some allow equity building. Limited liability. The property mortgage is under the corporation and not individual members. Members have participatory rights. Savings are passed down from the big-scale handling of a large property as opposed to individual units. Generation of a committed community. Stability is one of the main characteristics of co-ops, and some tax-deductible maintenance fees. Be advised that as in any other housing community, residents of the co-op need homeowners insurance, policy type H06. The policy is meant for the occupant's possessions and the share of the property owned. It protects against 16 disasters. Compared to other types of ownership, co-ops present lower vacancy rates. The reason for this is a higher number of owner-occupied units and less investment units. Co-op residents are more stable than the transient crowd common in investment communities. The disadvantages include the approval of purchasers and tenants by the board. This process can be long and intensive. Maintenance fees may be higher than with other types of ownership, since they include the underlying mortgage for the entire property. And higher down payments are sometimes required to lower the amount financed. These are high-end co-ops. Also, subleasing is restricted to short terms, following very restricting guidelines. Even though housing cooperatives are very selective with their screening process, they should abide by the Fair Housing Law and cannot discriminate against protected groups.
When researching a cooperative, it is important to find out about its financial and management situation. Also, the rules and regulations that govern it could make a difference in your decision to become a member. Ask questions about their policies regarding pets, subletting, remodeling, monthly charges, and any other area of concern that may arise. Inquire about lawsuits and request inspections.
Although members participate in the operation, this does not mean they necessarily attend board meetings. According to Sylvia Shapiro, lawyer, board president in New York, and author of The Co-op Bible, in New York the law does not require that shareholders be allowed to attend. She does not think there is any building where the board voluntarily lets members in. However, there are some more democratic states, like Hawaii, where shareholders show up and participate. However, members can always review the board's minutes if they desire and proactively ask for it. It doesn't mean that the board has to leave copies at the doorman station or send you your own every month, Shapiro states. Housing co-ops may be the answer for someone looking for affordable housing who does not qualify for a conventional mortgage. On the higher end, co-ops could satisfy the needs of those who seek a very selective community and want to live following high standards. If you want to search for co-ops in your area, co-ops are not very common in South Florida. While in New York there's a high percentage of housing cooperatives, the National Association of Housing Cooperatives, or NAHC, could assist you. Keep in mind that when it comes to co-ops, in high-end as well as affordable housing co-ops, the most important asset is the sense of community and the involvement and participation of the members to create the housing environment they long for. And for many, this could be a step away from the black and white paradigm of home ownership.